I'm gonna make another video. Oh my god, 2 videos in one day, this is crazy, but I feel like I'm on a roll. So I just want to expand more on the whole concept of vulnerability that I touched on in the previous video, but literally expand it away from just focusing on the personality type stuff, but actually just talk about vulnerability itself in a global context. So this is my very idealistic nature coming through here, but I feel that there are some things that at least have some merit. So I believe, maybe a bit idealistically, but I do believe nonetheless that vulnerability has the potential to save the world or to at least help affect very positive change on this planet. Because at the moment, as I look around at what's going on in the world, as I see the news being reported on a daily basis, and I feel how the people's perceptions are becoming hardened and changing in a not so positive way, I feel like history is repeating itself and we're going backwards as a human race, or we're very in danger of going backwards. There's been such amazing change in the last 10, 20 years, especially with the advent of the internet. Incredible change is happening at a pace that is actually kind of hard to keep up with. It's kind of scary. But at the same time, what's happening now, and especially what's happening in Europe and America, to me doesn't seem like too dissimilar from what was happening in 1930s Germany. All of this hate that is being whipped up against a specific group of people, which is allowing very abrasive beliefs and very abrasive talk to come out and to be supported, aka Donald Trump, and having a huge swing in society to move towards very hard line politics. And I'm not saying that there are necessarily everything's bad about that. There are certain things that I think people can agree on, like you shouldn't just open your borders to just anybody to come in, and people have to, pull their weight and all these kind of things. But the problem is, those might quite, specific issues are being overshadowed by this hate-filled agenda and speech, and it is sweeping people up, and it is taking us backwards as humanity. It is making us become more focused on our own little patch of land on this earth, becoming more focused inward in a negative sense, and it is separating us as human beings from each other. And unfortunately, you can't move forward. We can't move forward as a human race and move forward in a way to keep this planet in a positive state, because let's face it, things have been going pretty bad for a while now, and this planet is being harmed beyond measure. But if we start to become more insular and we start to turn our backs on each other, it is not going to last. It's impossible for that to last. As much as people might think that they just want to stay, sheltered in their little nice bubble wherever they are in the world, and just keep it closed off and just expect things are just going to continue, it's not. I hate to break it to you, it's not. One of the huge reason that so many of us in the West can live this privileged and comfortable lifestyle, compared to billions of other people on the planet, the 3.5 billion people who live in poverty in the world, is because our lifestyle has been built on the labour and the low cost and the almost slavery of huge amounts of people who are living in abject poverty. And huge amounts of our lifestyle has been built on taking their resources to build up our society, to build up our monetary systems. To think that we can just close off from the world and just continue to live in this way is just ignorance, to be quite honest with you. That we have to face up to these problems. We have to take responsibility. We have to look at the people who are continuing to cause these problems in the world. And I honestly believe one of the best ways to start to cut through all of the separation, the division and the hatred that is starting to boil up around the world is to reconnect with people through vulnerability. Now, I know that's the complete opposite of what a lot of people believe at the moment, but when you can start being vulnerable and share what it is that makes you a human being, guess what? Everyone on the planet is a human being, and there are certain things that, regardless of race, religion, cultural heritage, background, monetary status, status in society, there are certain things that all of us as human beings can relate to and share. And if we can focus more on those aspects rather than the division and the differences and the skin colour and the religious beliefs and all those kind of things, we can focus more on the positives, we can at least move towards a much better future than the one we're currently moving towards, which is all we're doing right now is going backwards. Who knows where it's going to lead, but I don't see very good things happening in this century the way that we're starting off. It is not a good way to start. And like I say, the parallels to the beginning of last century with what happened before, Nazi Germany and Hitler came to power and then World War II happened are scarily similar to what's happening now. But right now there's a massive difference. We have a global community, especially via the internet. It's given us normal people an amazing power, and it's time for people to stand up and start sharing what makes them human. Not focusing on the differences, focusing on the things that are the same, because we all share things. We honestly do. And vulnerability is a great way to cut through all of that egoic crap that separates us. Because let's face it, what is our society, especially in the West, what is our society built on? It's built on this idea of separation. It's very subtle. But if you start to watch advertisements, if you start to really look at the media, if you start to look at the kind of things that are reported and portrayed, and the celebrity culture we have, it's all based on separation. It's about how rich you are, how famous you are, how popular you are, how good your body looks, how much squats you can do in the gym, and how many photos you can post on Instagram, showing how good you are. I'm not saying that sharing your vulnerability means you need to not stop yourself progressing in areas of life and not stop yourself from improving in areas of life. But if we all just focus on these aspects and feel like, my life sucks because I'm not Instagram famous, I don't have a great gym body, I'm not well liked or popular, I'm not making lots of money, I'm not good looking, whatever, I'm not driving around in a Humvee with a load of scantily clad women or something like that. Who's that guy, Dan Bazillion, who always posts those kind of pictures? All this stuff is only helping and serving to make us feel more isolated, to make us feel more insular, to make us feel more insecure. If we can focus more on vulnerability, on actually connecting through the aspect of the humanity that all of us share, then I think we can start to break down those boundaries. Because a lot of those boundaries, a lot of that separation, the only reason it exists is to serve as a means to control people and to serve as a means to make money out of people. Because if you're an advertiser and you can make a person feel less than, and that they need your product, or they need whatever to start to feel more than, then you can take their money from them. That's the whole ethos behind advertising, basically. No matter what anyone says, you watch adverts, and that's pretty much the underlying message of all the adverts. You do not have enough, you're not good enough as you are, buy our stuff. And this whole mindset has kind of filtered into our culture and into our mass mind and into our society at such a level now that any difference that someone can find between someone, it's immediate, just, I don't want anything to do with them. And we shut down. And that allows hatred and bigotry and racism to breed at such a level that it only will rip our societies apart if we're not careful. It's already happened in the past. Let's not allow it to happen again. Let's focus on what makes us human and not be afraid to expose that to the world in order to inspire others to do the same. Wow, I really went off on one. Thanks for watching.